Leadership is not about you. Leadership is about what you do with others. What leadership means to me are three things. Trust. They trust me as a leader, and I trust in them. The second is standards. So what standards do I set for myself, and what standards do I set for my team members to follow? They feel that I'm firm and fair. I won't ask them to do anything that I wouldn't be putting my hand up to do first. And the third is, what value are we providing? Leadership is not about keeping a seat warm. It's about driving a change or driving value back into individuals and to an organization. So if you're not able to do that, you might be a good person, but are you really a leader? Leadership is not just about you, it's actually about others. So it's making sure that you're investing the time and effort in the people, in those others, so that collectively the team can get better. I'd heard a saying once that a man with no followers is not a leader. He's just taking a walk alone. A leader will always have people that he needs to take along with him or her. The most rewarding thing for me on my leadership journey has been to observe the growth in people, how people are able to stretch themselves, grow themselves, rise up to their own capabilities and potential. There's nothing more rewarding than that. It will sound a bit weird, but my leadership journey started as a child. I was the oldest of three siblings, the only boy. So I grew up with expectations that I need to look after my sisters, that I should always take the higher ground when there was a sibling rivalry or a sibling fight. And I grew up in a tumultuous period of 1980s in Bombay in India, where a lot of factories were being shut down and my dad lost his job. So there was this expectation from a lot of my family members that, hey, you need to look after the family now, you need to grow up, you need to help support your dad, etc. So these things I didn't realize it at that time, but these are effectively the concepts of leadership. You need to look after others along with you. You need to make sure that no one gets left behind and that your decisions impact not just you, but many others. And as I said, I didn't realize it at that time that this was leadership. But I grew up with these concepts of leadership around me and these expectations that I'll just do it. It's only when I got to the corporate setting, I could look back and say, oh, actually I was being prepared for a lot of this right since when I was a kid. And those were the things that I learned at that time, that leadership is not about you. Leadership is about what you do with others. I think the most pivotal moment for me was when I attended a corporate creativity course as part of my MBA at Mercer University in Palmerston North. That changed my life. That weekend in Palmerston North changed my life. I'm not sure many people would say that Palmy has that effect on you, but it did. And it's thanks to the teacher or the course coordinator we had over there, Dr. Mike Babb. He took away the false notions of leadership that I had. At that stage, I thought leadership was about management, managing people, etc. He actually exposed the unseen side of leadership, which is about knowing yourself really well, connecting with others really well, and charting a path through a difficult terrain. And how do you do that? And as I said, the course was about creativity, but the creativity stems from the leadership that people show, individual leadership, but also collective leadership. And he introduced us to certain models or frameworks that I'm still using today. When I walked out of that weekend, my notions had changed, and what I was running after was no longer a manager role. I was just seeking some opportunities that would stretch myself, that would stretch the skills and the experience that I had. I think he inspired me the most. He had never been my manager. I've not met him after that weekend, nearly 25 years ago. But the stuff that I learned over there has stayed with me. While he taught us a lot of theory about leadership, but he did open my eyes to the possibilities and potential that I had in myself. My first job out of university was with a boss who had a wild temper. I learned a lot from him in terms of sales techniques, sales skills, cold calling. How do you ensure if the doors are closed, the windows get opened, etc. But what I also learned from him was that fear was not the way to instill respect in others. Fear has got a time limit and a space limit. It drives people up the wall and it drives people outside an organization. Contrast that with my second boss that I had in my second role. He used to have a saying that the sticks are for donkeys, not humans. And if he had to use a stick on us, it was not our issue, it was his issue because he made a wrong hiring decision. That lesson has stayed with me forever. If you are a leader, you're forming your team, make sure that you form the right team, the team that you can work with. Because if it doesn't work, it's not the team members' issues, it's your issue. And it also sets expectations for the team members to rise up and to perform. Because what I saw with my second boss is that without using a stick, consistently he would get great performance from everyone. And that was because everyone expected to be a superstar and rise up to that level. Outside that, I've learned heaps from all my leaders or managers that I've worked with. Some good and some not so good. How do you pay respect to people? How do you recognize their successes? And how you invest in people to make sure that they thrive as individuals as well. One of the models that I still follow is called the leadership diamond model. And that model effectively highlights that leadership is all about balance. So it has got two axes. On one axis, you need to balance the current messy reality with the future vision that you have. And you need to be conscious of both. And on the other axis, you need to balance courage, i.e. to go after the future, but having the ethics about understanding the current reality and the impact that you may have on people. There's no perfect diamond that you create. You can start with a real odd-shaped diamond because that's where you would be today. But the idea is to keep increasing the size of your diamond and the shape of your diamond. So which means leadership doesn't have an end date as such. You keep improving yourself every day. You keep exposing yourself to experiences that help you shape the diamond to the size and the shape that you want. Early on in my leadership career, I realized if I have to be an effective leader, I need to make sure that I can work with people, I can motivate them and lead them. And to do all that, I have to be an effective communicator. So I've been working a lot on that. I've been a member of Toastmasters Club for 15, 20 years now. And I still do that because it provides me a safe environment to keep practicing my public speaking skills. So I would say that is one skill that I've worked the hardest on, as to how do I communicate better, how do I communicate with empathy, and how do I communicate understanding the different contexts and situational awareness. Of course, I'm biased because I'll pick up things from my own life, but I would say get out of your comfort zone first and foremost. Try to do things that you haven't done before. Don't try to copy others. Be a slightly mediocre version of yourself. That's okay, because only you can get better. Keep taking on some challenging responsibilities, initiatives, projects, tasks, because that's how you would grow your skills. And the third one is know your biases. A leadership is all about going through an uncertain time and trying to chart a path to an uncertain future. So it's all about decision making. So knowing your biases that impact your decision making will help you a lot. Because if you protect against your own biases, you'll make sure that you take good decisions, you take sound decisions, and you'll have a better outcome.